Welcome back to the Urban Taco Ranch. Today we're going to talk about how I completed the garden, filling all that soil, taking out the old soil, replacing it, replanting, and adding some plants into the garden in about 3 days worth of work. So as you can see, we're taking all the weeds out of each garden bed, going to add them to the compost pile. You can add all kinds of stuff, weeds, leaves, anything like that. So we're going to empty out all the weeds, then dig out the rest of the garden beds and replace that soil. So as you can see here, we've got the first garden bed dug out. We're about to till up that soil. And then we're removing all this extra dirt into this wheelbarrow. Now let me tell you something, guys. I bought a cheaper wheelbarrow today from Ace. It was $60 some, single wheel. It was made out of plastic and it could barely handle a full load of soil. It warped and twisted. The tire was flat when I got it, so I just decided to go get a new wheelbarrow. Some of the important things to think about when you're buying a wheelbarrow that I just learned are the flat free tire made of all rubber. So it's important to think about quality when you're getting tools. It's not always the best to get the cheapest one, and this will save us a lot of trouble. So as you can see here, we got all the leaves off of these branches. Way to recycle. We're going to use these for fires later. And then down here we've got a couple more branches that we lopped off of the tree. All these leaves can be used for compost and recycled. All right guys, so we finished unloading all the soil that we possibly could. We've replaced 1, 2, and a third. So we're still gonna need an entire truckload more. So this isn't even a third, it's more like a fourth. So really, we got 1.5 cubic yards, and we're gonna need twice that amount to complete it. We might have a little extra. So the last step here is to just kind of till out this clay. Now what I found out is that the store is closed until Tuesday because of the holiday weekend. So it'll take me a few days to finish this, but the plan here in this bed that has the low soil is to start the potatoes, because you have to dig a trench, start them, and as they grow, then you have to bury them again. So I'm gonna do potatoes here. I'm probably gonna put some more tomatoes and jalapenos in here. And then this part of the garden bed gets quite a bit of shade, so I'm gonna put strawberries. And the very last one, I'm not sure yet, so stay tuned and we'll get it done. So what you see here is a brace because the garden bed is bowing out, as you can see. So we took this piece of wood and cut it into the shape of a stake, drove it into the ground with a mallet, and that's going to brace the garden bed temporarily to make sure that while we fill it up, it doesn't bend anymore, and it should be good for this season. So this is what you can accomplish all in a day's work. From beginning to end, quite a bit different. The next goal is to get some chicken wire and block these entryways so that our giant cow dog doesn't go in there. He likes to walk in the cold soil. So we're gonna put some chicken wire up. Our soap defense has worked well. All of our tomatoes are still intact. Plants have really exploded over the past few days. I'm gonna need to get some bigger tomato cages. The rain has just been tremendous help to these plants. You can see this jalapeno is really coming along. The 2 peppers I showed you last week, looking good. Onions are really doing well. These tomato plants in the 100% replaced soil are much healthier than the ones on the right over here. Much healthier. And you can see in here, there should be a couple tomatoes starting to sprout in here. Still haven't replanted the basil, but we're gonna get to that. Here are our cucumber plants. They're really starting to come along as well. And the lettuce is doing even better than I thought. So as you guys can see, there's been a lot of progress today. We got a lot more to do at the Urban Taco Ranch, but we're gonna get it done this year, and next year is gonna be even cooler. Stay tuned. So here we've got 5 potato starts, sprouted, ready to go. And we're gonna use the trench method to plant these potatoes. So I've dug out a trench inside this garden bed, and I'm just gonna spread them out 5 all the way across evenly. Meanwhile, putting the rest of the soil in the half-empty bed that can be used later for the next plants that I'm gonna put in. So just gotta go and get the rest of that soil to complete these 2, but for now, starting the potatoes. Now that I've got all 5 potato starts in there, I'm gonna cover it with the remaining soil, and this garden bed will have less soil than before. And later I can fill it up with some extra that I get. But for now, I'm just gonna cover it with what's there and add soil later as they grow. Also, I'm lining the trench with fertilizer at the bottom. Even though this is brand new soil, I wanna make sure that it has enough nutrients as possible, and these potatoes should do amazing. Now that I've evened out the garden bed, put a little bit more soil, we're gonna get water on there right away, and the process will start for those potatoes. All right, so as you can see, this soil is pretty hard on the ground today. It's been raining, but not quite enough, so I didn't water it the past 2 days. We've been getting a lot of rain lately, so I'm gonna go ahead and till all this soil, which means just mixing it up on the top layer, breaking up the top layer so that the water can soak in easily. Over here, I planted some more onions. So we've got some additional onions that just went down in here. And those were the ones that I grew earlier. Green pepper's looking really good. That one looks like a jalapeno. So we got peppers coming in here. These tomato plants are really doing well, getting huge. So some of the plants I had to replace their tomato stands and add some new ones over here. So remember last week when I told you about that the basil and tomatoes got mixed up? Well, here's what a basil looks like, and here's what a tomato looks like. So what I've done here is taken out all but 1 basil plant and replaced them with the tomatoes that were in the potter. So just transplanted them today. Gonna need some more tomato stands for them as well. And over here we've got our cucumbers. They're really starting to come along. Lots of new growth happening here. You can tell this leaf is maybe a little sick, but overall the plant seems to be all right. The lettuce has really started to come off in the past few days with all this rain. The plants have seen a tremendous amount of growth. And if you look closely here, there's a rogue tomato inside the lettuce. So when you're planting seeds, you got to be careful. And it looks like I mixed some up and got some tomato seeds with the lettuce. But lessons learned. The advantage to tilling your soil is that you can get the weeds out at the same time, loosening up that top layer of dirt, allowing the water to really soak in. And here I planted some cilantro underneath the tomato plants so they get a little shade. So these are the ones I started from seed. We'll see if they get anywhere. Alright guys, we're here for round 2, getting another truck bed of soil. It's a beautiful day out here in Colorado. It's headed down to the loader now. So in total this would be 3 cubic yards of the raised garden bed soil that I'm going to be collecting between both trips. You can see the loader guys coming right there. So it's pretty exciting. Next I'm going to come back and get some mulch and compost to put on top of the garden beds once I've finished filling them and planting. So here we go. so we got the next 2 garden beds filled. Now this one over here is not as full because the potatoes are in there. So we'll fill up some more soil later there. This bed is full. And I just finished tilling out this last one. What I'm gonna do differently this time is put some dead fish in there that I caught in the lake the other day. Fertilize the soil and water it right here. So all this clay-like soil with the rocks, I'm gonna get it nice and wet and put some fertilizer down before I fill it with the new soil. And that should help it be successful. Break up some of the clay. I might remove some of the rocks as well. So this is how much clay and rocks I removed from that garden bed. There's still some rocks down there, but this really loosens up the bottom. Allows the plants to get in there a little deeper with their roots. So I'm going to put some fertilizer down and water it. What's up guys, it's Crazy Tacos, and just to sum up the 3 different days of work that I've done here in the garden, quite a bit has happened since the first clip in this video. Replaced all the soil, replanted the plants, added some new plants. So check out where we're at. In the back corner garden bed, finally got the strawberries in there. Some of the ones I planted from seed are gonna go right here. So we've got 2 store-bought ones. This one's looking like it needs some water, but we'll get that taken care of. And then plant some of the ones from seed right here. Next, we've got our potato trench. One of the sprouts was just barely coming up when I was digging around in there today. The rest of the garden beds are filled to the brim with that new soil. So I moved 3 cubic yards of soil to fill up these back 4 beds in the past week. I added some extra fill here to this garden bed with the new soil on top. So we did put some nice store-bought soil in there, but on top of that I put some of the new soil because we had extra. Even just from last Saturday when I was recording the first part of this video, this lettuce has really come up. So have these cucumbers. New tomato plants are down here. These 3 are getting really big. Those onions that we planted are absolutely taking to the dirt here, and the peppers are getting much taller. And finally, we've got our last section of tomatoes. This plant is getting really tall, seeming like it's not getting enough water, but what I'm gonna do next is dig out some of this old dirt. This is the very first garden bed that has a mix of the old stuff, and try to amend some of the soil with the new soil that I've got. Yeah, but that sums up the week's events here. So thanks for tuning in.